Happy Friday, America. Happy November, and happy Movember. Who's rocking it, guys? The mustache. I got a little inspired by Art about 2 weeks ago to do this. Nah, I'm just kidding. Look, it's really for prostate cancer awareness, men's health, suicide prevention, things like that. We're rocking the stash. And I'll tell you who else is rocking is the Fricashinas. You just got done listening to them. They play us in and play us out every single week. Thanks again for joining us here on the Discussion Combustion Happy Friday America YouTube channel. We are ready to have some fun. My name is Kevin Batstone. I'll be running the ones and twos on this episode, doing a little bit of MCing. Joining me, as always, of course, looking fantastic, as always, Mr. Arthur Rawe.
What's happening, world? We in the building, and we bring in the energy on this fantastic Friday. If you're listening in the morning or in the afternoon, whatever time you're listening, it could even be on a Saturday. Let's make today a good day.
Let's go, Art. We always kick off the show now. This has become a thing. Today in history. On this day, November 3rd, what do we got?
Today in history, so 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 2, carrying the dog Laika. Laika was the first living creature to ever get rocketed into space and orbit the Earth. So I had to include that one. Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool, man. There's some good stuff in here. What else we got going on in 1998?
So in 98, and I thought this one was interesting. So a 15.5 mile section of the Great Wall was discovered. So it was in the High Autonomous Region, or Hui. It's Hui. I'm probably butchering that. And the region of Ningxia, and the wall runs about 4,500 miles total. Sorry. So for a whole 15-mile section to be discovered is pretty interesting.
I'll be honest, I don't think I would be able to pronounce any of that either.
Yeah.
But I believe that some of our viewers and listeners out there have made a game out of when you mispronounce words.
Here, I'm gonna do it quicker this time. The High Autonomous Region of Ningxia. And now you can't tell that I messed it up or not.
Yeah, if you say it quick,
you gotta go quick.
It's kind of a cheat code. Yeah, you can kind of hack it there a little bit.
You got to go quick. So going quick into forward in history. So 2014, this one was important. I felt to celebrate the One World Trade Center opening in New York City at the same site where the September 11th terrorist attacks happened. So yeah, the building reopened at that time, or the new building opened at that time in 2014 on today. And last one I got here.
It's a good one. I like this one.
Yeah.
The World Series just got over. Congratulations to the Texas Rangers. They defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks in a 4-1 series. So on this day in history,
yeah, take this one.
2016, the Chicago Cubs defeated the Cleveland Indians after trailing 3-1 in the series. Their first World Series title in 108 years.
Crazy.
Fantastic. World Series is always a good time. Like I said, congratulations to the Texas Rangers on getting that title. They came in, they destroyed, they earned it, and they played so good on the road. They defeated Arizona on Arizona turf. And I'll tell you what, I was watching that game, man, and it sounded like it was in Texas. Like, yeah. I looked a few times like, is this game in Arizona or is this Texas? Yeah. Every time they would score, the place went nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the people are coming, showing out for their team to get it done. It's fun watching sports, getting everybody to come together. I really do love NASCAR and how all the fandom of that sport comes together. We'll have some more on that a little bit later in this episode, but I couldn't help but mention it right there.
Yep, that's right. The championship's coming up this week. More to come on that in the back half. So, moving on. So I found a fantastic read. I encourage everyone. All the articles that we talk about every week are going to be down in the show notes down below. Here on YouTube, scroll down, click on those links, and get involved with some of the stuff. So there is a restaurant down in Georgia that decided to put on the fine print at the bottom of their menu that there is a $50 surcharge for adults unable to parent their children. So a situation occurred. This was put into place, and of course it was a matter of time before you had the kid throwing French fries or screaming or doing something in the restaurant. And they got the bill. The person's name is not listed, but they got a bill. They got done eating, and they saw plus $50. They go, what is this? They called the owner over. He said, the manager, well, per our rules here on the menu, which you agreed to here at the bottom, we charge $50 for the fact that your kid got out of hand. You weren't able to, which then compromised the dining experience of our establishment and the other people around. We feel like that's fair that it's a $50, surcharge, so to speak. I wouldn't call it a fine. It's a surcharge. I love it. I don't have a problem with it because if you know this going in and you see this on the menu and you read that fine print and then you stick around, you're essentially agreeing to the terms and conditions.
Yeah, I highly doubt people are reading the fine print on the menu. And so it sounds like it's kind of split for this one, right? Like people are kind of like, I agree with the restaurant. People are like, I disagree with the restaurant. However, it's a private business. They can make whatever rules they want and implement whatever they want. So if you are not paying enough attention to that, or your children to discipline them and keep it calm, then I'm assuming that a lot of things are kind of out of control. And of course, you're going to be upset about this.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always going to be, children that have great parents that are just acting unruly.
Right.
So I guess, how does the restaurant really police it? When do they truly consider, and when, there's a lot of questions I have on what constitutes getting the
what's that
bad
line?
parenting
What's that
charge?
line? I mean, for me, it would be, because if you have a baby in there, right, a newborn, which I don't really agree with bringing newborns into places like this, especially at dining time. It's probably not a good time for a newborn to be out. But just like when you're on an airplane, they scream, they cry, they kick, they whatever. They're fussing. They're having a hard time. But, if you got a 7 or 8-year-old that's running around the restaurant and throwing shit all over the place and drawing his crayons on the table or whatever, then, you probably want to tighten them up. And here's the thing, though, right? Because so many parents now, I'm kind of torn now, because when I'm out in restaurants, which you and I go frequently, a lot of times you'll see a parent hand their kid a device, an iPad or a phone, and put on a program, and then they're quiet. It gets them to shut up. I see it in the grocery stores, but I don't really like that either, right? So it's kind of a double-edged sword here. Like, sure, shove an iPad in their face, you don't get the $50 surcharge.
So here's one that I've seen live action, and it was, great parents doing their best to calm their child down. It's their attempts are failing, basically. And so from there, they do the last resort, which is the iPad.
Yep.
And in that scenario, I can kind of agree with that. Like, you gave it a attempt. You're trying your best to curb this. You can see that your child is disturbing the restaurant's vibes. You can't calm the child down, and that's reasonable. That happens. So then you whip out the technology, and all of a sudden it's a peaceful dining experience for everybody. Look, that's all right in those kind of scenarios personally, but if you're in private and you're at home, like, we need to make sure that the screen is always a last resort for distracting children, or else we're conditioning them to constantly be on screens.
You're right, exactly.
And we know how unhealthy that is.
Well, because what it's essentially saying is you're almost rewarding outlandish behavior with technology, right? Because if the kid goes, well, if I'm just rowdy and people are getting frustrated with me, I'm going to get a show shoved in my face, or a game, or something like that. When we were growing up, and we're older, we're about middle-aged men at this point. I remember you would get crayons. They'd bring you like a cup of crayons and something like a little picture to color.
Yeah.
Or there would be that other like triangle game. I don't know if you remember. It was like a wooden triangle, and you'd have the pins, like the little pegs that you'd put in. I never knew how to play it.
I don't think we had that one out here, but
Yeah,
we would make like little footballs out of the sugar packets. And,
play
that could be distracting too, because then you're kicking stuff around.
Yeah, it's flying off the table.
So
I don't know. We didn't have the technology to distract us at the dinner table.
Yeah, look, it's expensive, regardless, and if kids are getting out of control and you're unable to get that wrangled in any means, and the restaurant, look, it's like two Karens battling, and everyone's just going to be upset. I don't know if I agree or disagree with it.
I'm going to agree with it.
I don't know. What does everybody else think out there? What are y'all thinking?
I'm going to agree with it. I don't think you'll see this happen in a corporate chain restaurant.
Yeah.
Private restaurant, you can do whatever you want, right? You can say, hey, there's no sports attire allowed, none of this. No, you could even say there's no kids allowed under the age of 21. So it's like, if you can do what you want in your establishment, and if that's the rule, that's the rule.
Yep. And I guess what, if you've read this menu, you're binded to everything that's on it. Like, how did they make that? I don't know. That's interesting. Like I did say, though, it's a private business, so I can't hate on it.
Yeah, and the best way to do it, I think, would be to put it on the door.
Yeah.
Or, and maybe they
make a gimmick out of it.
Yeah.
Like a big old gimmick.
$50 for, because it's also going to attract business.
Yeah.
People are going to go, oh, wow, I don't have to deal with yelling kids
while
I have my meal.
Yeah, or else they're getting charged, and then I get to watch somebody lose their top over getting charged $50. Yeah, you make a big gimmick about it, put it on all the doors, make it so it's so obvious to see that you're gonna get charged $50 if your children are out of control.
I like it.
I think it's fun then.
I like it.
Yeah, it's fun at that point. So.
Yep, I like it. Art. I'll tell you what else I like. I like sea creatures. I like water. I like aquatic things, and we have learned something about starfish.
We have, and. It's from a group called Echinodrums, and that also includes sea urchins and sand dollars, and I'm sure I messed that one out for all of our biologists out there.
That's another shot.
So yeah, go ahead and enjoy that beverage on me. But starfish, a very oddly shaped creature. Like, there's almost nothing else quite like it out in nature. And so it's really baffled scientists for a long time. Like, hey, what is the body? What is the head? Where does it all begin? And so what they've actually found out by doing these type of mapping, computer-generated mapping things of a starfish, they discovered that the starfish is actually really just all head. Like, the entire creature is basically a head crawling around on the ocean floor. And at some point throughout the evolution process, it just realized that they didn't need their bodies. So they shed their bodies and just became heads. But that's one interesting thing, too. And it doesn't really go into all this in that article. But, like, you cut off one of the 5 starfish hairs that we can call it now. What would we call it now? Because it's not a leg. You cut off one of the star's points, then it grows back. So that's kind of interesting. And doesn't a secondary, like, starfish grow off the point that was cut off?
I don't know enough about starfish to know the anatomy of these creatures. I just thought they were like kind of just sea urchins that would cling to things, almost like a barnacle, but I think they just sit on the seafloor, don't they? They don't really move around much.
No, they do move around. So when you look at the bottom of them, they have like all these little tentacles that come out and move them around, and that's how they navigate. They move around on the ground.
But they're pretty slow.
They are slow. Yeah, you got to put that on time lapse if you really want to see the movement happen.
Like, what do you think it would take them to go, 100 feet on the seafloor?
No current. I'm gonna say 30 minutes or something.
To go 100 feet?
Maybe. I have no idea.
Maybe. Do you think they're the slowest? Do you think they're slower than a sloth?
Slower than a sloth. I'm gonna reckon that starfish probably move more frequently than sloths do.
Well, see, a sloth has a bigger reach, though, so he can, pull his arm out and pull himself.
But even then, I feel like the sloth is just, some sloths will, like, maintain a life within one tree. They'll just live in one tree for their whole life. They don't go far. Yeah, but the starfish, they're out there hitting the reefs.
That's a good point. Well, it's interesting stuff.
It is.
I love watching, shows on sea life and wildlife and stuff like that. And starfish, I've always found pretty cool. When you go to the aquarium, you see them. They're a lot of fun.
They are interesting. I don't know. That one stood out to me. I got another animal-related one later, too. I'm just into the animals this week.
We like to do a lot of animals here on Happy Friday, and I love world records. Okay, so on this edition of Kev's Random Records here on November 3rd, 2023, we have a teen trampolist pops balloons while somersaulting backwards for the world record. We had a chance to watch this before we went on. It'll be down in the show notes down below. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, some of these this might be one of the most random records I've ever found, just because it's like who's keeping track of this stuff. So basically, he had sharp objects on the tips of his shoes, and he was essentially trampolining and doing somersaults backwards.
Like doing backflips.
High up though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 8-10 feet in the air.
Oh, easy, yeah.
And he was going up there and popping these balloons to try to beat the record, and he did. 13-year-old individual by the name of Julius Bile was able to pop 20 balloons in 44.3 seconds, beating the previous record of 82.6 seconds. That's a pretty significant record beat.
Oh, no, he definitely smashed it. And so they have like this rotating carousel over the trampoline, so like the balloons are slowly rotating so he can kind of bounce in place, do backflips, kick them with his spiked toes. And it's just like, where do people come up with this stuff? Like, how do it looks like this carousel contraption was built specifically just for this balloon popping activity. Like, I don't know where it comes from. It's fun, and I mean, it just goes to show you the resilience and drive of a 13-year-old out there breaking the records.
Well, I mean, we've done so many of these random records now, Art, and usually these are young kids
doing
things.
They're younger folk.
Like the Lego building, and some of the other fun records that have been broken. They're young people. I mean, there's some older guys that have been doing it, like that feller in Idaho that holds like 250-plus records now. He's just constantly trying to beat records.
It's like, what's my record this week that I could beat?
He
wants to know.
That's getting it.
He wants to get after it.
That's getting it. But I thought this one was pretty cool. Stood out. Definitely give it a watch. It's only a minute long. And congrats to him, man, for holding the record. I think it can be beaten, though. There was a couple opportunities there he was missing them.
Oh, yeah. Like, he could have I think he'll go back and beat his own record.
I think so.
And my challenge to you while you watch that video is try your very best to not feel the funky tunes playing because I started getting into it.
There is some good music behind the filming
into
of that record for sure. So yeah, definitely go check that out. So now it's time for another fun segment of this show, Art. Here on Happy Friday, we do the random records and we do Would You Rathers. Mm-hmm. The Would You Rather.
Would you rather for this week? Okay.
Well, we got to do last week's.
Okay.
Results.
This is the Would You Rather segment for this week. Start us off with the results from last week.
All right, let's go live action to the results, folks. So last week's Would You Rather was a lot of fun. We had 105 votes come in on this. And this is on our X page, by the way, Twitter and X. You can also drop a comment below on what your response is going to be. And so last week's Would You Rather was, would you rather be born again as yourself or somebody else? Here's the thing. You would remember this life. What would you choose? That was last week's. 71% coming in with yourself, and 29% took somebody else.
Interesting.
So I kind of figured it'd be a 70-30 split.
Yeah.
Maybe 80-20. I'm actually surprised that 30% would want to be somebody else. But those are the results on X.
Interesting.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for doing that and participating. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
So this one this week is we're going to have to throw some caveats on this or some extra on it. So would you rather be rich? Like I'm talking you're rich, filthy rich. But you hate your job or you hate how you generate your income. Like it's like breaking your moral codes basically to be this filthy rich. So would you rather be that rich and breaking all your moral codes, or would you rather just get by? Like you're getting by, right? It's nothing lavish. You're not eating the best food all the time, but you're getting by. But you love what you do for an income. Which one are you picking?
I think this is going to be another 70-30 split. I do, because there's some people just want money, and they'll put up with the bullshit, and they'll do malicious things to get the money. There's scams going on out there. There's hedge funds that screw people over in their investments. I am going to take getting by with the income but loving what I do, because I've always said that I want to control my time and money. And as we continue to grow this business and being able to have sustainable income, sure, maybe we're not driving Ferraris, but we're doing what we love and making money doing it. To me, I think I would rather take that route. Yeah,
me too. It's one of these things where until you've been actually presented the opportunity, live action in real life, like what would you actually pick? Like it's kind of one of those things. I feel like consciously everybody would want to select, hey, I'm gonna get by, and stick to my moral code. I'm gonna do something that I enjoy with my life. And that's seeing more value in experience than more value in income, right?
Well, yeah, because your time is money, and your experiences in life are worth something as well. So sure, maybe you do drive your Ferrari to a job that you absolutely hate, that you're throwing up in the parking lot because you're so stressed out because you're some CEO role or CFO role, and you just hate, you're miserable. But you have quotas to meet, and you're making the big bucks, but you have a lot of pressure on you. You're working 70 hours a week. You don't see your family. You're missing out on experiences for money.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and choose the latter, and I'm going to select doing what I love, barely getting by, but getting by indeed.
I like it. Let us know what you would rather choose on a comment down below here on YouTube or over on our Twitter page, X page, whatever they're calling it nowadays, over there at Happy Fry USA. Let's keep moving, Art. So there's a thrift store. There's a lot of thrift stores. People like doing thrift store shopping, and
there's some cool finds in there.
There is.
Some cool finds.
And a lot of people, though, turn it into, like, instead of going to the dump or having to pay to throw some shit out, they'll just take it to a thrift store. They're like, here, dump it out back. And they'll go after hours even and just leave it there. Because, places like what is it? Goodwill and the Salvation Army, they're cracking down. They're like, we don't want this shit. They have somebody appraising what you're bringing in. They're not going to just take anything because it's not a junk store. But apparently something got out of hand. We have a thrift store here that is begging people to stop donating used and unused sex toys. First of all, why would you do that? Maybe an unused I can understand. A used sex toy, you're going to take that to a thrift shop? I mean,
you're not getting money back for this thing. You're just giving it to them
for them to make a profit on, essentially. I get the idea behind where their mindset is, but for whatever the reason, over here in Swansea, they're seeing a huge influx.
Where is this, in England?
Yeah, just outside of Wales.
In the UK or something?
Yeah, it's in the Wales area. And the Europeans they like to do sex just like us Americans do.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I mean,
So they have some toys, and they're asking. They're like, please, we don't need any more. Stop donating used and unused sex toys. They're like, we need children's items. We need kids' books and coloring books and clothes. Like, we don't need all this shit.
yeah.
So stop donating your used dildos, guys. What are you doing?
What are you doing donating dildos? It's so dang dinky. No, I was going to try to stick with the D's there. But no, honestly, what's going through these people's head, man? Like, what they had their lover left, and now they're like, well, what am I going to do with this? So let me get rid of it, and I can't let it go to waste. It has so much sentimental value, but I can't let Excalibur go just into the trash can. I have to give Excalibur to
Excalibur.
Excalibur is the name of the dildo. And I got to give Excalibur to the thrift shop because it's worth something. Maybe there's like a sentimental value.
It could be.
I don't know, but
It could
no.
be. I mean,
no.
If you can get, look, dildos are that's old school. We're talking like womanizers where it's at.
Yeah.
All right. That's the sex toy of 2023. All right. This thing's badass.
Okay.
If you can get one at a discounted rate, unused,
Yeah.
for like $20-$30, not for nothing.
Yeah, but okay, so let's say you're in the market for sex toys,
Okay.
Adult toys. Are you going to a thrift store looking for some shit?
No.
No,
I'm probably not going to do that. But let's say I was in there looking for a knick-knack, and I was like, oh, look, they have a womanizer for $29.99.
Oh.
Unopened, unused.
What if it was a fleshlight?
I'm not a big fan of those.
I've never even.
Yeah, that's for another show. We
Okay.
don't do that here on Happy Friday
sorry.
America.
Sorry, America.
But being on the topic of these adult toys, I just think it's absolutely hilarious that they're literally begging, like they have a sign, like no
Like,
more
please,
sex toys.
please
We're
stop.
not accepting these as donations, no more. So for all you folks over there, why don't you go ahead and donate some children's books, some crayons, some things that are a little bit more useful for the children's community.
Yeah, let's keep it wholesome, okay? Bring that shit to the pawn shops, okay? Let them deal with that stuff.
Yeah, pawn shops. You find some wild shit in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Let the
gets
pawn
wild
shops
there.
deal with that.
Anything goes in there.
No, they're gonna turn that stuff down too. But just like
You think?
yeah. You think they're like, oh yeah,
Bro, it's a pawn shop.
that's a high quality 12-inch silicone dildo. I'll pawn that for $20. Like, no, the pawn shop isn't gonna take this.
Best I can do is 12.
I don't think the pawn shop's taking the toys, bro.
No, probably not.
I
don't know.
think so.
Maybe. It'd be curious to
It
see.
depends. Maybe a womanizer, yes.
A womanizer is a high value piece of equipment.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Yes. Yes. It's good stuff. So let's keep it moving. Art, you have a fun article here. What do you got?
Hey, I didn't know that they did this for awareness of bat conservation, but there is a bat beauty contest that's ran annually, and of course it's so fitting to do that last week of October. So the results came through for that, and this year's winner is out of Oregon, and the bat's name is William Shakespeare. Ear is emphasized at the end because this bat had beautiful listening devices attached to their noggin. I got to take a look at the picture. I mean, as beautiful as a bat could be, the only flying mammal. So there's gliding mammals, flying mammal, the only flying mammal. So I think that's really cool. And one thing that was also interesting about this one is last year's winner, who was a bat named Barbara, also hailed from Oregon. So this makes Oregon a two-time beauty bat contest winner for the awareness of bat conservation. And obviously, they're extremely important nocturnal hunters. They go after insects, all this other stuff, help pollinate, all the seeds that they help spread. So every animal is important on this planet and their ecosystems, obviously. But yeah, we had to put that one in there, man.
Pretty cool. I mean, bats, most people are creeped out by them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like when you see a picture of their face, they look kind of rough. They look kind of hideous, right? So I kind of like this idea of doing a beauty contest with something that people perceive as being one of the most ugliest creatures they've ever seen. And like you get a bat in the house, that was a lot common where I grew up in
Oh,
New England.
yeah.
You get a bat in the attic.
You start freaking out.
Yeah, you just
I got a
things
bat
flying
story.
through there.
So in Quincy, Illinois, when I was growing up, I was sharing bed. I was a young kid. I was like 11 or something, and all of a sudden there's a bat flying out of the the drapes and stuff. It's all in the room, causing havoc. We're just trying to go to sleep. That's such a fun memory, man. And it was bat related.
I don't know much about bats. I don't think they're like they would bite.
Well, there are those vampire bats, though.
But do they bite humans?
No, I mean the legit vampire bats generally feed on cattle.
On cattle.
But they will go after humans too, though. If they
you
can't find cattle and they can, they'll like bite you near your like
Really?
ankle and stuff, or like your toes if you sleep with your foot out. And that's all in South Africa, I believe. No, South America, I believe, is where the vampire bats are.
Wow. I mean, I heard of them. I didn't realize they would feed off human. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if it's a hungry creature, it's going to do what it's got to do. But it doesn't. Is it like a vicious creature? Like, does it attack?
So they're more
through a field?
They're more stealthy and sneaky. The vampire bats are like they want to find a prey that's sleeping, that's not moving around much, and they kind of sneak up on it and like barely bite it, and just so like a drip can start, and then they'll suck the blood that way.
That's pretty intense. Hence the vampire bat thing. Well, pretty cool story.
Well, congratulations, William Shakespeare.
Yeah, great story there. Sad news this week. R.I.P. to Matthew Perry, everyone who watched Friends, and some of the films that he did pass away at 54 years old in his hot tub. Still not really sure what the cause of it is. That really doesn't much matter. The fact is that a lot of people lost a friend. Chandler Bing. I kind of grew up with that show being very popular. He was a fantastic actor. I don't think that show would have ever been the same without Matthew Perry. And it was a big loss, man. And the entire Friends cast reacted to it this week. They're like, it feels like we lost a brother. Those guys were together 10 years shooting this show. 10 seasons of Friends, man. And it's still one of the most #1 watched sitcoms of all time. Yeah,
no, I bet. And people all know the name of Friends. Like, they know that it's one of the classics, you could say.
You know the theme song.
Maybe.
I'll Be There For You.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's got the clap in it.
Yes, that is there.
Yes.
But I'm not too much into pop culture, if you are familiar with any of my other stuff. I'm just not too into it. So I'm not too sure what was going on even with this guy prior to passing. Like, was he dealing with abuse issues that he was overcoming? Like, I don't know any of the deets.
Yeah, he was definitely, I don't know. They said they didn't see drugs or alcohol or foul play at the scene.
Yeah.
A lot of folks know that Matthew Perry was dealing with alcohol and pill addiction for many years, and he treated his body pretty rough. He was drunk most of the time on the set of Friends or thereafter during the producing process. He had struggles with substance abuse. But my understanding is he was cleaning up. He had found sobriety. I don't know if he went off the wagon or not. I don't know if that's related. If it's not, it's hard to say.
Because, the only thing I could really think of is, like, you get overly relaxed. You're in a hot tub. You get overly relaxed. You're kicking back. And then you doze off a little bit. And then somehow you swallow some water while you're sleeping. And while you're trying to wake up, like, it's too late or something. I have no idea.
Well, and I worked with an individual who I'll leave their name out. And their son passed away in a hot tub, and it was tragic. Yeah. And it was kind of a similar deal. Had a few drinks, got in the hot tub, and look, I've been in a hot tub, where you start feeling woozy. I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. They say don't stay in there more than 10 to 15 minutes.
Because you could just pass out from the heat.
It's very possible. Again, I'm not.
Like, maybe not even sleeping. Like, you didn't fall asleep from being relaxed. Like, it actually made you pass out. It was too much for your body to handle. Because they're supposed to, like, your heart's supposed to stay above the water.
Correct.
And people get underneath. They get their shoulders in there and get all comfy and stuff. And that's the danger zone. Was it 14 minutes? Is that what you just said?
No. So I think it's recommended like 10 to 15 minutes max in a hot tub of temperatures of over 140 degrees. Yeah. Right. And so, again, don't know the cause of what actually caused the death. We just know he was found in his hot tub. That's all we have to go off of. And definitely brought a lot of joy to many people's lives. Friends was fantastic. A lot of people still watch that till this day. It's on all these stream services. People that weren't even alive then are getting into Friends because it's a great show. So R.I.P. Matthew Perry, definitely felt around America and around the world this week. Rest easy, my friend.
Yes, and thank you for bringing so many smiles to the world.
Absolutely.
So other things that are bringing smiles to the world is some fun stuff to do this weekend.
That is right, guys. It's Friday. The weekend is here. Great weather here in Denver, Colorado. Looking pretty good around the country. Starting to cool down a little bit down in some of the southern areas. But there is a lot of fun things going on this weekend. So we have the Midwest Music Fest. Music festivals, guys, they're just a lot of fun, and that's going to be up in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Get yourself a little bit of cheese. It's getting cold up there, so you're probably going to want to bundle up for the Midwest Music Fest.
Are they into the curds up there?
That's where it came. The cheese curds.
Okay, because curds, baby.
Oh yeah, I think that's where they started.
You know, Minnesota, Wisconsin. I'm sure they get upset about that, but who has better cheese, Minnesota or Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin has better cheese. You've tried both?
I don't think I've had Minnesota cheese, but I know that Wisconsin's known. They're called cheeseheads.
Does Minnesota do cheese?
I'm sure that there's a dairy farm that makes cheese in Minnesota. Yes.
Yeah, but they just have never hit that recipe like Wisconsin did.
Wisconsin's got it.
Wisconsin got the cheese, baby. And you know who's bringing the ice? That's Ice Cube, and he's going to be doing it out in the desert in Reno. So that's this Saturday, tomorrow the 4th, and Sunday the 5th. I mean, definitely a rap legend, still out there doing it. Ice Cube, one of the realest that's ever grabbed a mic.
I love Ice Cube.
Yeah.
I think it's always a toss-up for me between like Tech Nine, Eminem, Ice Cube, but Ice Cube's always in the conversation for me as one of the best rappers of all time. His music's fantastic. He's real. Listen to him on Rogan. You know, if there's still tickets available Saturday and Sunday in Reno, go check that out for sure. And if you want to eat some delicious Caribbean food, the Caribbean Food and Music Festival is going on down there in Port St. Lucie, Florida. You can get down there, have yourself some delicious
jerk
cuisine.
Chicken and stuff.
Oh man. Yeah, that just sounds like the yum yum get you some. And listen to some great music while you eat delicious food. I love these kind of festivals.
Oh yeah, I can already hear like the they're not bongo, they're like the big cymbal type things, but they're like boing. They're kind of like,
oh yeah.
What are those called?
You probably saw them in Jamaica, no?
Yeah, and also the jerk chicken was delicious. The dark meat jerk chicken.
You got to taste a little bit of the Caribbean food. Caribbean.
Caribbean. Oh, all I know is I was all in, and keeping it up on the food, going up to Westminster, Massachusetts tomorrow. We got the Fall Food Truck Fest. Now, come on. I swear it's worth all the overcharged prices because food trucks, yeah, they're a little spendy, but it's a self-owned business. You're supporting entrepreneurs, and usually the flavor that you get out of these food trucks is second to none. Some of the best food I've ever eaten is off a food truck, and so I'm okay with paying slightly inflated prices on a delicious food, and even just to go see all the gimmicky stuff, because obviously you can't get something from every truck. You're going to be overly full, but just to see all the different types.
I love food trucks.
And you get all these different mix and mashes of, you know, like Mexican, Korean food mix up or something, however they're doing it. Like, food trucks are fun.
Absolutely delicious. Love food trucks. Well, we know it's a big weekend, Art.
It is a big weekend. Kev, you are going to be leaving early tomorrow morning, and you are going to be covering the NASCAR Championship in Phoenix.
That's right. It's here. The NASCAR Championship, Phoenix, Arizona, absolutely sold out. It's not even happening. So if you want to go to the Xfinity or the Truck Series Championship tonight in Phoenix, there's definitely still tickets for the trucks. The Xfinity Championship tomorrow still has some tickets, but Cup Sunday sold out. I'm going to be there covering it all with Jeff Davis from Mash the Gas podcast. We're on the ground. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's down to Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, William Byron, and Kyle Larson for the championship. A lot of people think Blaney is the favorite coming off the Martinsville win. I kind of agree with that, but I'm kind of leaning towards the 5 of Kyle Larson. So we're going to see. It's the championship, baby. You won't have to listen to me talk about NASCAR till February, till the Daytona 500. Art, you went to the championship last year. It's tremendous. I'm so excited to be there.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, with the amount of growth that Mash the Gas podcast has seen in the last year, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what you guys capture this year. And, man, you're going to be exhausted, but it's going to be worth it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Not a lot of rest in the desert, but looking forward to it. Enjoy your weekend, America.
Yeah, I'll wish you safe travels on that. Everybody, thank you so much for your time and tuning in on the Discussion Combustion Happy Friday America YouTube channel. So subscribe if you haven't, and if you love this content, that's going to be a huge support to us. Wow, good sir. May I please? Instagram and Facebook, Happy Friday USA, and on Twitter, that's at Happy Fry, FRI USA. Shoot us an email on the Gmail, happyfridayamerica@gmail.com, and you know we're going to keep it moving, keep it rocking. Let's go, freaking Shinners!